Every single day, you wake up with two choices: to stay the same or to push yourself forward. But who are you really competing against? It's not the person next to you. It's not the people on social media. The real battle is you versus you. Too often, we waste energy comparing ourselves to people we don't even know, looking at their success and feeling small, doubting our own potential. Your biggest enemy isn't out there. It's the version of yourself that makes excuses, that says, "I'm too tired," that whispers, "I'll start tomorrow," that fears failure more than desires success. But here's the truth. The only thing standing between you and your goals is you. You don't need to be better than anyone else, only better than who you were yesterday. Every time you choose discipline over laziness, courage over fear, and effort over excuses, you win. Growth isn't about overnight success. It's about consistency, showing up when no one is watching, grinding in silence, and refusing to let your old self hold you back. One day, all those silent sacrifices will pay off. And when people ask how you did it, you'll know the truth. It was always you versus you. No more waiting, no more doubting, no more wishing for someone else's life. The only person you need to beat is the one in the mirror. So go, be better, be stronger, be unstoppable. Because at the end of the day, the real battle is always between the old you and the new you waiting to be unleashed. Your past is a heavy weight, but are you carrying it, or is it carrying you? Too many people are prisoners of their past mistakes, regrets, and failures, letting them define who they are instead of using them as lessons to grow. The truth is, your past is not a life sentence. It's a chapter that has already been written, and you have the power to turn the page. But the problem is, most people are too busy looking back to move forward. They let old failures convince them they aren't capable. Past pain convince them they aren't worthy, and previous disappointments convince them that success isn't meant for them. They live trapped in the stories they tell themselves, repeating the same limiting beliefs over and over again. But what if you realize that the past only has as much power as you give it? What if you understood that every mistake, every setback, and every heartbreak was not meant to break you but to build you? The strongest people in the world aren't those who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to let failure define them. They take their pain and turn it into power, their struggles and turn them into strengths. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck is simple. One learns and the other lingers. If you're always looking behind you, you'll never see the opportunities ahead. The past is gone, but today is in your hands, and what you do with it determines your future. No more replaying old failures. No more identify yourself with who you used to be. No more believing that just because something didn't work before, it won't work now. You're not the same person you were back then, and you don't have to live the same story. Growth means allowing yourself to evolve, to rise beyond the pain, to choose to rewrite your narrative. You have to be willing to forgive yourself, to let go of the guilt, to stop carrying the weight of something you can't change. Every second you spend dwelling on the past is a second stolen from the future you could be creating. The only person keeping you tied to your past is you. And the only person who can break free is also you. So stop looking back. You're not going that way. Your past is a reference, not a residence. You have the power to walk away from the old version of yourself and build something new. The only thing that matters is what you decide to do right now, in this moment. Are you going to keep letting the past control you? Or are you finally going to take control of your life? The choice is yours. Let go. Move forward. Step into the future that is waiting for you. Because the battle isn't against your past. It's against the part of you that refuses to leave it behind. Every single person who has ever succeeded had a reason to quit, but they didn't. And that's the only difference between those who make it and those who don't. The truth is, success isn't about talent, luck, or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about refusing to let excuses control your life. The question is, how many times have you told yourself you'll start tomorrow? How many times have you blamed your circumstances, your past, your lack of time, or your lack of resources? Excuses are nothing but lies disguised as reasons, and the more you believe them, the more they control you. You say you don't have time, but how many hours do you waste scrolling on your phone? You say you don't have the right opportunities, but how often do you step out of your comfort zone and create them? You say you're not ready, but when will you ever be? The truth is, You will never feel fully prepared. You will never have a perfect situation. And you will always have an excuse to fall back on if you choose to. But those who win in life are the ones who silence those excuses and take action anyway. The real reason you haven't achieved what you want is not because you can't, but because you won't. It's not because you're incapable, but because you're unwilling to do what it takes. People who succeed don't feel like it every day. They don't wake up motivated all the time. They don't always have the answers, but they show up anyway. They push through the discomfort. They find solutions instead of excuses. And they do what needs to be done even when it's hard. You need to understand that life will always give you two choices. One that's easy and keeps you stuck, and one that's hard but leads to growth. The easy choice is sleeping in instead of getting up early to work on yourself. The easy choice is making an excuse instead of making progress. The easy choice is blaming everything and everyone except yourself. But where has that gotten you? The hard choice is waking up and taking responsibility. The hard choice is putting in the work even when no one is watching. The hard choice is deciding that no matter what happens, no matter how long it takes, no matter how many obstacles stand in your way, you will keep going. If you want something bad enough, you will find a way. If you don't, you will find an excuse. And every single day, you are either feeding your excuses or feeding your success. The question is, which one will you choose? Will you continue to tell yourself the same old story about why you can't? Or will you rewrite your narrative and prove to yourself that you can? Because at the end of the day, the real battle is not against your circumstances. It's against the part of you that keeps making excuses. Comfort is a silent killer of dreams, the invisible force that keeps people stuck in the same routines, the same struggles, and the same unfulfilled potential. It feels safe, it feels easy, but it is a trap, a slow poison that numbs ambition and steals greatness. The truth is, every time you choose comfort over challenge, you're choosing to stay exactly where you are. And if you're not growing, you're dying. Look around. How many people do you know who once had big dreams, but now settle for an average life because stepping outside of their comfort zone was too difficult? They convinced themselves that playing it safe was the right choice, that struggling was a sign to quit, that discomfort was something to avoid instead of something to embrace. But what they don't realize is that everything they ever wanted exists on the other side of that discomfort. The people who win in life, the ones who break barriers and achieve what others only dream of, are the ones who understand that growth comes from struggle, not from ease. They're the ones who push themselves when they don't feel like it, who do the hard things even when no one is watching, who face fear instead of running from it. If you want to build an unstoppable mindset, you must train yourself to do what is uncomfortable, to choose discipline over pleasure, to show up even when every part of you wants to quit. The greatest version of yourself is hidden behind the workouts you don't want to do, the sacrifices you don't want to make, the risks you are afraid to take. It's built through waking up early when you want to sleep in, through pushing harder when your mind is telling you to stop, through stepping into the unknown even when fear is screaming at you to stay where you are. The reality is, comfort is lying to you, making you believe that you have more time, that opportunities will come later, that you can start tomorrow. But the truth is, every second you stay comfortable is a second you lose to become better. The clock is ticking, and every day that you avoid discomfort is a day wasted, a day stolen from the future you could be creating. If you want to be unstoppable, you must rewire your mind to love the struggle, to see pain as progress, to understand that discomfort is not something to be feared, but something to be pursued. The harder the challenge, the greater the reward. The more uncomfortable the journey, the stronger you become. The moment you stop avoiding discomfort and start chasing it, everything in your life will change. So the question is, are you willing to sacrifice comfort for greatness? Or will you stay stuck in the same cycle, letting fear and ease dictate your life? Because at the end of the day, it's not the world holding you back. It's your attachment to comfort. Let it go and step into the life you were meant to live. A year from now, you could be a completely different person, unrecognizable from who you are today. But only if you stop getting in your own way. The truth is, your future is not something that happens to you. It's something you create, something you build with the choices you make every single day. Right now, you are shaping the person you will become, whether you realize it or not. Every action you take, every habit you reinforce, Every decision you make is either bringing you closer to your goals or keeping you stuck in the same cycle. The problem is, most people don't think about their future selves. They only think about what feels good in the moment. They choose comfort over progress, distraction over discipline, and excuses over effort. Then a year goes by, 5 years, 10 years, and they wonder why their life hasn't changed. They look in a mirror and don't recognize the person staring back, but not because they've transformed into something great, because they let time pass without purpose, without growth, without taking control. But that doesn't have to be your story. The most powerful realization you can have is that you are not stuck, that you are not bound to the person you were yesterday, and that at any moment, you can decide to become the version of yourself that your future needs. The person who is disciplined, the person who is strong, the person who is focused, relentless, and unstoppable. The key to becoming unrecognizable in the best way possible is simple. Do what most people won't. Wake up earlier, train harder, work smarter, and stay consistent even when motivation fades. Make decisions today that your future self will thank you for, because the future isn't waiting. It's being built right now. Imagine looking back a year from now and realizing you did it. Realizing that all the sacrifices, the struggles, and the discipline paid off, that you finally became the person you always knew you could be. That future version of you is watching, waiting, counting on you to make the right choices today. Will you let them down, or will you show up, put in the work, and make them proud? The battle isn't against the world. It's not against circumstances or bad luck. It's against you, the old you